Hola, buenos días. Es Nico.
Listen, I'm just saying.
What are you saying? Please, the floor is yours.
I'm a handsome guy, but I don't, that's not my thing.
See, even that's misogynistic. If I'm buying, what will make you think
How's
that I'm
that
looking at
misogynistic?
you?
Like I said, man,
That's what is wrong with you
That's
niggas in here? You niggas is nuts. You just assuming that you the type of a bi nigga.
I'm just
What
saying.
the fuck is going on?
Thinking like a female.
Only.
You can play with her. You can even play with them. But you won't play with me.
So today we're here to talk about something that pertains to our community, especially if you were outed or came out during your more formative years where you were surrounded by heterosexual people, whether by your own volition or not. It's essentially surrounding the Joe Budden situation where he was essentially outed as bisexual and he kind of just rolled with it. He never really addressed it until this interview. But before we get started with that, if you like this kind of content, make sure to follow me at patreon.com/Nicosaesthetics for weekly lives, for multiple videos, exclusive early release access to YouTube videos, and also to join on the podcast depending on the tier that you pick. Nico, yes, I'm going to plug because bitches have bills to pay. I got bills to pay. This isn't a hobby, this is a business. But essentially, we're going to be talking about the fragility of heterosexuality and how a lot of heterosexual, especially Black and brown men, just because those are my experiences, I cannot talk on Caucasian men or Asian men. I'm talking about Black and brown men, that are in proximity to queer people reacting in a way that you want them. As in, when you come out or when it's exposed or when you simply exist, because some people are noticeably queer, and they say, I'm okay with it, just don't flirt with me. Because like this man in this video said, I'm an attractive man, it's just don't try to come on to me. And Joe Budden had to reiterate, what about you makes you think that a bisexual man will want you? And he was stuck dumb. And I'm just sitting here like, that's a lot of reactions to a lot of heterosexual men. Because like this commenter so eloquently put it, a lot of Black men have the mindset that a lot of women want them just by having small talk or eye contact. So they equate queer or gay people in their proximity simply speaking or existing around them as them wanting them. And we can see that through popular culture where Black men, like this commenter said, whether they're average, broke, ugly, I don't like to use that term because I don't like calling people ugly, whether they're all of the above, they are lifted on the pedestal to be seen as you are a Black man, so you are the prize within our community, which is odd because in other communities, the woman is usually the prize and the man is actively chasing after her. But in our community, it's kind of flipped on its head, which I don't necessarily understand. I understand that it boils down to like Reaganomics. That's where it really started messing things up. But that's a conversation for another day. If you want a political YouTuber, I will plug some in. But it's an interesting dynamic because these people so adamantly say, I don't have anything wrong with gay people, but I don't want you to flirt with me. And my thing is, if you have nothing wrong with someone who is queer, someone who is, gay, bisexual, etc., because I use the term queer as an umbrella term because it encompasses the entire LGBT community. And all the gay people that were upset that I'm using the word queer, you're gonna have to get over it because I'm not going to exclude people in this dialogue to make you feel special. If you had nothing wrong with somebody who is queer or LGBT, you would not mind them saying that you're attractive. I understand a respectful standpoint. I understand you're not interested, but if they simply state that you're attractive or they try to hit on you without knowing that you're heterosexual, there's no reason to retort with anger, visceral speech, that kind of energy. If gay is okay in your eyes, just don't flirt with me. But that's another thing, to be expected to be sought after just because somebody is attracted to the same sex is a very narcissistic standpoint, and it boils back down to that comment of them thinking that they are the prize and that they are the center of the universe for both women and queer people. Especially because a lot of heterosexual people are mid. Nico, a lot of heterosexual people are mid. The difference between heterosexual men and queer men is that just like heterosexual women, queer men are also very visually oriented. But since we are all attracted to men to some degree, unless, you know, you have a different sexuality, then you also have to have an appearance that is visually stimulating. Heterosexual dynamics, the male's appearance is never really the focal point. It's about, you should just be caring about his personality, whether he can provide, blase, blase, blase. But as we're all men, we can already all do that. So we've also noticed that our community is very sex and visually stimulation focused. So it makes sense that we actively have to try for our appearance more than heterosexual counterparts. And that's not even necessarily saying fitness, because a lot of people go, oh, appearance, so you must mean muscle. I'm not necessarily attracted to muscle. Surprisingly, I think there's like 2 people that I've only posted online, and one just had big titties and one had a fat ass. And that's why I was attracted to them, not necessarily because they have muscles. So your appearance can just be your skincare. It can be your dental care. It can be how you dress. We all have to stand out in different ways. While heterosexual men, they can, but it's not usually emphasized upon. So I don't know why a lot of heterosexual men are mid and they expect us to like fawn over them. And that's the part that really throws me for a loop, because I'm like, girl, don't flatter yourself. Because I've been in a few situations like that too, where it's like, oh, just don't flirt with me, or just don't be weird. And I'm like, nothing about you at all makes my tallywhacker jump up and down. Peen is not moving. I'm sorry. Because I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, you're heterosexual, so you're immediately unattractive. Because as you've noticed on my social media, I shout out like people that are heterosexual and attractive all the time, just because I can acknowledge that you're attractive and also acknowledge that you're out of reach. So I'm not about to flirt with you. Like, I'm not gonna be in your comments, I'm not gonna be in your DMs, but I will say this is a fine ass man, because it's still plausible. It's still an attractive man. Just because someone is heterosexual doesn't mean that they're unattractive. It just means that you should not be pushing that. So definitely drop your opinions down below on the entire argument of, well, I'm an attractive man and you're queer, so you should find me attractive, because a lot of them don't understand that attraction can be physically based, but can also be based on personality. It can be based on energy. It can be based on reciprocation. There is no point in me finding a straight man attractive and holding a crush on him when he is straight. It would just bring nothing but misfortune to my life. Personally, I've been there in my teen years. I'm not doing that again. But yeah, definitely drop your opinions down below, because this is an interesting discussion, and I never in a million years thought I would be sitting down here agreeing with Joe Budden. But yeah. And once again, a quick thank you to all my patrons on Patreon, and a quick shout out to my third eye tier patrons. Your support means everything to me and helps me do this a lot more smoothly. I will also be listing this week's live stream topic in case anybody wants to join in on the fun. I will see you guys there.